Well, when I first got in the class, I wasn't familiar with any of it. Never done it, never had anything. It was actually the first time I ever wore boots and jeans my whole life was that first day of welding class.
All right, KWI Podcast here. I'm Bobby Pease, and today I'm with Jackson Sattler. And Jackson is kind of unique in some of the podcasts we've done because Jackson's hometown is actually the hometown of Kentucky Welding Institute. So, Jackson, you're from Flemingsburg, Kentucky. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Fleming.
And you graduated here recently from high school. Like, we're pretty fresh. A lot of the podcast guys we talk to, for the most part, they're graduated. They've got 2, 3, 4 years of experience under their belt. But honestly, you're just a week out at this point. But talk to us a little bit about what it was to grow up in Flemingsburg.
Growing up in Flemingsburg, well, I lived downtown Flemingsburg, so there's not, farms or nothing. It's just houses and roads. So I really didn't do too much. The most I got to do is go outside and climb a tree. I didn't have the big acre farms, the cows. Didn't have none of that. So yes.
But now Flemingsburg, even though it's downtown, like you're not 2 or 3 miles away from a lot of green grass hills, and so the population 3,000. So what kind of things do you do in a small town like that? You run up to the Dairy Queen, or you go take your skateboard to the park, or what did you do growing up in town?
Yeah, you just go out, walk around with friends, go to the park, maybe 5-minute walk from the park. They got reservoir, you can fish. I fish sometimes, or just sit inside and play video games, or go outside, kick a soccer ball at the wall. I did that. Just stuff like that, doing sports. Just in your free time, just go outside and practice for your sport, or just whatever you could really find.
All right, so you're wearing a track shirt right now. What sports did you play growing up?
I did soccer. I started in elementary, I did football, but I didn't really like it. So then I switched to soccer about 5th grade. And then I did cross country for 2 years, and I didn't like it. But then come sophomore year, I joined track and then did soccer and track for the rest of high school.
All right, so track and soccer. And did you stuck with soccer through high school as well?
Yeah, since 5th grade I did soccer.
So you lettered, I guess, in 2 sports then, you're saying, track and soccer. What position did you play in soccer?
For the beginning, so freshman and sophomore and junior year, I did right wing and left wing. So I just ran up the sides on the field. But then senior year, because we had a few seniors and they all graduated, so we had to move around spots, and I went to center defender in my senior year.
Center defender, is that what you're saying? So what is that? Is that in the backfield?
It's in the back, the last line of defense, in the middle.
And so the wings, those are the guys who typically cross it to maybe the forward who's going to score. I mean, that was your old job, I guess, is on the wing. You would cross it in for a forward to score. And then you're saying in your senior year you played mid defender in the back.
Yes.
So you and the goalie got tight then, I guess.
Yeah.
How was your high school team? Were you guys good?
No, we were not very good. We were decent my junior year because that's when we had everybody. But senior year we were supposed to be good, but not very good.
All right. So what are your sports in track? I guess what do you do on track?
So I did the mile my sophomore year, which I was projected to do pretty good at the mile, but then I started slacking off because that's when I started turning 16, and then I went and got a job. So I started slacking off a little bit, but then I just went into the smaller stuff, like a 4x4s and the 200s, the 100s.
How fast can you run a mile?
I was at 5 minutes sophomore year, but then now it's probably not even close.
So I could probably beat you in a mile, then you're saying?
Yeah, probably right now.
All right, and so you got a job. You turned 16, got a job. Where were you working at?
I went to Rural King in Maysville, which is about 15 minutes from where I live.
All right, and so growing up, did you have to, everybody's a little different. Some kids growing up have to pay for their own stuff. Some kids, their parents help them out halfway or something. Some just luck into it, right? Mom and dad buy their truck, their gas, their insurance. Like, what were you working for, I guess?
Well, mom got me a loan for my first car. But I had to pay, I've been paying on the loan since I got the car. She took care of the insurance for a little while, and then eventually it got put into my name, and I pay for the insurance. But, yeah, she got the loan for me, but I had to pay all of it, so I had to work to pay it.
All right, so Rural King was because you had to, you needed to. You were working to pay off your personal bills, your car insurance, your gas, and your loan on your car.
I'm pretty sure when I turned 16, I always said I was going to go get a job. So I had the job before I even got the car. I'm pretty sure. But then I
How'd
got
you
the
get back
car.
and forth?
I had buddies. I had a buddy that took me.
Must So good friends, I guess. Then that's
Yeah.
good. All right. So in high school, at what point? So you're a town kid. You're playing video games and kicking a soccer ball against the wall. You're in the high school sports. Your track, your soccer. What? At what point did you start to gravitate towards welding as a possible career option?
It was about eighth grade year. That's when all the teachers start asking you what you want to be when you get older. You got to start figuring out what you want to do as a career. And we had some presentation where you had to pick what you wanted to do, describe it, and I just somehow found welding, and I thought it looked cool, so I just went into it. And I wanted to weld. I wanted to see what it was like doing it, but your middle school ain't got it. I knew the high school had it, but you, as a freshman, I figured out you couldn't take the class as a freshman. So I had to wait till my sophomore year, and then I decided to join it and ended up liking it.
So sophomore year is when you found or finally got to try it out. So for 2 years you were wanting some welding, and finally got to get your hands dirty sophomore year. All right. So in the welding program, then what processes were you familiar with? What'd you start off with? What'd you do?
Well, when I first got into the class, I wasn't familiar with any of it. Never done it, never had anything. It was actually the first time I ever wore boots and jeans my whole life was that first day of welding class. So it was a completely different experience for me because I always did, shorts, sweatpants, shoes. But I started on 6011, a buzz box. And that first day, I remember striking an arc. I couldn't get it going for anything. The whole day, I couldn't do it. I guess the second day, I finally got it. And then just then on, just kept going at it.
And then did you join any clubs and stuff in high school, SkillsUSA, FFA, that kind of stuff? Were you active in anything like that?
Yeah, we had a Skills USA, we had an FFA. I joined those both sophomore year when I got into welding, and then junior year for FFA, I ran for officer. I was part of the officer team, and then didn't do it my senior year because I wanted to focus on welding and just getting better before I went to KWI. And then went out in the industry and started welding.
And so through high school, were there any points, I guess, sophomore, junior, senior year where you started to question, like, I don't know, maybe this is too tough, or you hit a hard spot, and like maybe I want to go a different direction? Were there any second thoughts, I guess, on the welding career option?
Yeah, in the beginning, because I sucked. It was just annoying. Couldn't keep it going. It was just frustrating. I was like, I don't know if I like this. This is a little not for me, but I'm glad I stuck it through. And then come senior year, I don't know, I felt like I was too deep in. Like, I still, enjoyed doing it. But if I wanted to change, I feel like it'd been goofy of me because I took basically 3 years straight of welding to get good at welding, to do welding. Still enjoy it. I wouldn't pick nothing else over it. But
yeah, I might catch a lot of flack for this, but all the trades are awesome, I would say. But I think welding is the king of trades. In that the majority of them are easier to pick up, right? For the most part, they're not necessarily skills. They're just practice, I guess. To be a carpenter, swing a hammer, to be an electrician, to pull some wire, to work with concrete, pull a bowl float, that kind of thing. But welding is different in that it requires a lot of hand-eye coordination, a lot of skill. There are a lot of spots where you're hanging over and on a 5G or 6G, and it's uncomfortable, and you got to work left hand, right hand. So it does offer a whole lot more obstacles to the summit of victory, I guess, so to speak. So yeah, I feel like welding would be the one craft that people would feel like giving up on more often, I think, because it's not in your comfort zone, so to speak. But few and far between, like you're on your first job, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But none of the other crafts were going to offer you, Jackson Sattler, at 18, 19 years old, a six-figure first year out. So that had to be something. What kept you motivated, I guess? You said your senior year you felt like you were just too far gone, I guess, to opt into. Was there a second choice? Did you have a second career in mind?
No, it was just welding. Not very smart, so I can't be nothing like, I don't know what you would call it, I guess special, because I ain't got the brains to be a doctor or nothing. I don't know. I just stuck with welding and did it.
All right, so then why Kentucky Welding Institute?
It's close to home. It was right there. We in school we went there to do the expo and then the senior contest and just seeing all the stuff it had, and I thought it'd help me out, make me a better welder, so I went.
Now you could have went to a community college though, right? And for free.
Yeah, could have, but
So why not? Why didn't you go to a community college?
So I went to KWI in June, November, so about 5 months, and I'm already out making pretty pretty good money. And then I could have went to community college and still been there for the next 2 years, working at McDonald's. Just making whatever they make. It costed me money. I could have went somewhere for free, but in the end, those 2 years I would have been at a community college, I've already made way more to just offset it.
All right, so you put pencil to paper. You're gonna be dollars ahead. A community college peer, maybe you had one your senior year that they went off to that community college, and you're gonna have essentially 18 months head start on those guys. And that's if they can play into some of the connections that you've had. Because at KWI, did you make any friends from out of state?
Yeah, almost every. There's only a few that I was on shift with that was in the same state as me. A lot of them were from far away or just somewhere completely random. So I got to meet a bunch of people and get contact with them.
So what shift were you on?
I was on third shift.
Third shift. So 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. How'd you do adjusting to that?
So we had orientation Monday. I just did normal stuff Monday. And then when I got home, I started trying to change my sleep schedule because the first day would have been, I believe it would have been Tuesday night. I don't remember. Wednesday night, maybe to Thursday. So I had to
Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Yep.
Had to get ready for it. I think the first few days I just stayed up for a full day. And then when I went to bed and then woke up in time and I felt fine because I was fully rested. And then so after that, it just felt like normal.
All right. So then through a month in, I mean, did you enjoy third shift? Would you have traded if you could, or did it work out for you?
I would have stuck with third shift. Because you're not always going to get a day shift job. Sometimes you're going to be on night shifts, and everybody's used to day shift. Go to school, it's day shift. I guess day shift because it's during the day, but everybody's used to being up when the sun's up and then go to sleep when it goes down. But just a little different and gave you a better experience of what it had been like.
All right, so to summarize, you're saying that you feel better prepared for the road. If your next job makes you go night shift, you've already got that experience in your back pocket.
Yeah, I know how to handle it, know when to go to sleep, when to wake up, when I can eat, when I need to, just all of it.
All right. So third shift, give me a shout out to who's your favorite instructor that you had at Kentucky Welding Institute?
I liked all of them. Justin Lee was there since I started, and then when I left, because he was our main instructor, he was there the whole time. Troy Ratliff, he helped me a lot with just different stuff, like learning to look through the bevel. I did that with him. I just did a lot of different things with him. And then we had Blake. Blake was our CWI for our shifts. So that's who we would take our right sheets with. And I guess it's a good thing, but he didn't take it easy on me. Every chance he got, he threw me something hard, which at the time, I didn't like it. I was like, this is stupid. I hate it. It's annoying. In the end, I felt like it was worth it because now I'm a lot better. I can do tight spots. I can do really whatever you put me in.
Now, so in high school, how far did you get in your high school career? Like, what was your the best you got? Overhead stick? Did you ever TIG weld? Like, where were you at level-wise in high school?
I guess all the way. I don't really know how to explain it. I did all the stick. I did TIG plate. I got to mess around with pipe a little bit. Had to cut my own pipe, bevel it, because the high school didn't have nothing like that. So you got to hand bevel all the pipe, the 2-inch. Just really got to mess with everything, like all the carbon stuff.
So you felt like you were pretty far, as far as going to KWI, you felt pretty prepared for that.
Yeah, I felt prepared for, the basic stuff, knowing the basics.
So curious, how did you fare at the KWI curriculum versus, did you have any students on your shift that had never welded before? So you had 3 years under your belt. You even welded pipe in high school. How did that work as far as your pace versus theirs? Did they still do okay? Did you? How did instructors, I guess, keep you interested or sharp? What happened there?
So yeah, most of the people that go there, they may have like a little bit of experience, but I'd say none of them had anything that I was able to prepare for. Some of them had welding in high school, like just a pick few out of them, but none of them did all the stuff that I got to do. Learning the basics. I'm sure they got to stick weld a little bit, but we went more in depth in high school, which helped me a lot through KWI. I went through a lot faster because I knew all the basics. I knew how to do all the stuff using the track torch, just all that. Already knew how to do it, so I moved through a lot quicker than what everybody else did. Um, the instructors made sure to keep me sharp
And so
because
that's
they seen me moving fast, and they seen I guess I knew how to weld, so they wanted to, I guess, test the skills that I had. So they threw me in, a 4-post, a 2-post, 3-post, convection box, bullish, just all of it, which helped me. In the end, it helped me a lot, and it helped me stay sharp with just everything.
So to summarize, you're saying that the reason Blake was so hard on you, I mean, I'm guessing most people take a blue sheet and then a white sheet. You're saying you had to take a majority of your white sheets in some sort of simulator. Not that they were trying to hold you back necessarily, but they were just trying to sharpen where you were at. I mean, you came in pretty sharp, and their job is to make you better than you came in. So you're taking. Give me some examples of your combo monster. How did you take that? Did you take it just normal, like everybody else, in a booth in the 6G?
So all the plates, I did all the plates just normal because you can't really do much for a plate weld. And then I got to my 6-inch combo. The 6-inch combo I did in a 4-post, and then I did 2-inch. I went through 2-inch. I did my 2-inch combo monster I did that in a 4-post with a ring on it. And then I did the same thing for my stick out. And then I got the stainless. For stainless, they put me in a convection box. That whooped my hind end for a good bit. I think it was like 3 weeks before I was even ready to test. And then I finally passed it. I did my SKED 10, which is the next white sheet, which was finishing the program. I don't even know what you call it. It's just like a big dome ball. I'm sure it has a name on it. I don't remember what it is, though. Which that one wasn't too bad. And then once I finished the program, I was hoping I'd get out of the simulators, but never did. So I got put on top of the boiler. You just don't like it, but I mean, it helps. While you're doing it, you're like, this sucks. It's not enjoyable, but that's how the jobs are. You ain't always going to like it, but you got to get the welds done.
Yeah. Now you did a weld with Keegan video while you were here at KWI, right?
Yes.
And what did you guys do that day? I can't remember.
It was a TIG out monster carbon, and I don't even know. It was like heaters on a plate. I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but it wasn't like.
Oh, so you guys did.
Yeah, we did it in
You
a
did a
simulator.
sim for your. Okay, so the hairpins, the 180s. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, Keegan actually complimented. I don't know if he told you or not, but afterwards he's like, "Yeah, this guy is pretty good. He's been through it. He's much better than I was in his spot at school." So that's awesome. That again, you came in a little better, and KWI just able to sharpen you. I'm not sure that all of the programs could do that necessarily. Like if you come in too hot, and they're just going to kind of level you out, so to speak. But if I'm picking up what you're saying, KWI put you through a lot of suck, and while you were going through it, you didn't necessarily like it, but looking back on it, you're dang glad that they put you through it.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't, I would have been done. I mean, I would have been done in no time, which would have been kind of sucky, really. Because I mean, you pay to go there 6 months, but if you get it done in however long, it just feels kind of pointless. No, yeah, just threw me in the simulators, which slowed me down and really let me get good at just the skill of how to hold the TIG rig, and no matter what, not sticking your tungsten every 2 seconds in hard situations, and yeah.
And then in those tight sims, do you have a special hood? Do you have just a leather mask or anything? Do you have any crazy hoods like that? Or are you in there with your chop pipeliner making it happen?
It would have been easier with a smaller hood, but no, I was just in there. It's not even chopped. It's just a normal pipeliner white hood. So I made it work. It'd have been easier with a smaller hood, but it's not what I had, so I used it.
All right, so and I know a couple stories on you, but so let's bring those out real quick. A couple weeks ago, you had a call in Texas, right?
Yeah. Andrew
If
called
I'm not
me.
mistaken, yeah, Andrew, go ahead.
Andrew called me. I think I was in bed. I don't remember what I was doing, but he called me. He was like, "I got a big job opportunity." He gave me a number. Turns out the guy's number was the owner of Tentacle Tools, and he had a job down in Texas. And he picked me, which I guess feels good, I guess, that he chose me to go to such a big job with such big people. Yeah.
And
then I
so
went.
the job's in Texas. You're in Kentucky. That's a long way away. You got the call on what, a Thursday or Friday? Andrew hooked you up.
Yeah. He hooked me up.
Where did you test for this job?
Same day he called me. They called me, and then they asked where I was at. I told them where I was at, and then they said the closest place I had to test was KWI. So I was like, "Oh, that sounds good." And then I went there, I tested, It was a S2 wire monster. I first time I ever used S2 wire, so I didn't even know what to expect. And then it was a combo with S2 wire 7018, and then it was a SCAD 40 Inconel, and thankfully passed all three of those. And then I was on my way the next day. 16-hour drive, so I set out. I guess for some reason I thought I could drive the whole way there, which I guess was ignorant looking back at it, and then made it all the way to Missouri, about 9 hours, and just I guess decided to go into a guardrail, and yeah.
All right, so recapping. What time did you start this journey? So you had a 16-hour drive. It's Friday. Andrew calls you. The company calls you back, and they said you can test at KWI. And maybe we should pause a second. The 70S2 is just a flavor off what you're probably used to at KWI, which is 70S-6, right?
Yes.
And then typically your -2, -6, like one of them is a little trashier as far as how it's going to play out. I mean, in the end, could you tell a whole lot of difference between that -6, -2? What did you think?
You could tell a little bit of difference. The S2 is a little dirtier. That day I went there, I tested with Josh. Keegan was there that week with second shift, which is when I tested. And, I've never used it, so I just asked them questions on how it runs. They just said it was a little trashier, which I could tell. They said the root was a little harder, which you could tell it on it. What I didn't find out until I bent, I had a little bit of lack of fusion on one of my bends, and I didn't know why. I was running 200 amps, just burning it in. But they were able to tell me that where it's so much dirtier, you can't feed as much, which I guess was a good lesson. Because, that S6, you can just pour wire in it as long as you're hot enough.
Yeah, Keegan talks about on that -2, pulling your filler metal out, just breaking the surface tension and allowing it to be consumed in there, get melted in. Yeah. All right, so 3 tests at KWI. That had to feel good, though, right? I mean, you got a 16-hour drive ahead of you, but the fact that this company respects Andrew and the Kentucky Welding Institute so much that they're going to let him handpick a graduate, and then you can test at the trusted accredited testing facility, that's got to be good. And then you had 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, to get to Texas, which you were supposed to badge in, I guess, Monday, right?
They wanted me there Sunday night. Sunday night.
So then you broke out. So you left Saturday morning early?
Saturday night, because I wasn't ready to leave. I didn't have nothing ready. The truck that I drove up there needed an oil change. Like, it was way past due. Like, I wasn't ready to leave. I got a call. But, I mean, still in KWI, I hear this great opportunity. So, I'm all nervous, I guess, and ready to go. I figured I would go at nighttime, because I'm used to being up at night. Less traffic, less everything. I made it all the way through night. About 6... I think it was about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. is when it hit the fan.
So you fell asleep, essentially, right? I mean, you fell asleep and drifted off. And then how beat up, banged up are you? Where's the truck at? How's it doing? What's the story?
The truck's still in Missouri. Left it there because it was totaled. Like, there was nothing else to it. I didn't get too bad. I just cut my hand. I had a little cut on my head, but, I got out just fine. Nothing too bad. I actually figured out not too long ago. I think it was actually yesterday. My hand was still hurting. Like, it still looks rough. I kind of show it. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it looks like. So I was like, this ain't right. Everything I do, it hurts. It shoots pain. So I was like, I'm going to go to the doctor. So they stitched me up in Missouri, a hospital in Missouri. And then I got back home. They took the stitches out. I think I waited like a week, and it was still acting weird. So I went and got an x-ray done. Turns out they stitched up part of the car in my hand. So now someday when I get out of the job, I guess, I gotta go have surgery on my hand so they can get it out, or it's just gonna keep just doing whatever it's doing now.
That's wild. So they left a little piece of car in your hand.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they said that there was something in there and they stitched it up and it healed. So now I got something in my hand. I don't know what it is.
Now I'm gonna keep telling on you because you didn't tell. There's more to this story. So the first call you make when you wrecked was probably to who?
First call was 911. I got out. I called 911.
Okay,
actually,
911.
I called 911 before I got out. And I tried to open the door. Both doors wouldn't open. But the windows were busted, so I just climbed out the window. And had 911 on the call. And then after I hung up with them, they call him Stick, which was the technical tools guy. I called him to let him know that I got in a wreck. I ain't going to be able to make it. And then I call Andrew to tell him because he's the one that got me on the job. So I let Andrew know, like, hey, bad deal. And I don't know who I called after that.
And then back home, what's happening is Andrew's letting me know, and Andrew's suiting up. Like we're all going to do some sort of rescue mission. Come get you, right? And so we actually met. This was a Sunday. We met at KWI like I don't know what 9 a.m. I guess, and we had Andrew had his truck. We had it fueled up. Had a little one of those car getters that we're going to come get your truck on. But we did a little more research and found out that the junkyard wasn't going to even let us in on Sunday to get the car. And then figuring it up, that what you'd paid for that truck, and if it was actually totaled, it wasn't going to pencil to come get the dang thing. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I got a good deal on the truck. Like it ran perfect. Everything on it was great. I got it for $1,300. I mean, absolute steal. But it made it 9 hours. I'm sure it would have made it all the way, but it was totaled. Like there was nothing left of the truck, so we waited till Monday. My mom came down there. We stayed in a hotel. We went Monday. We got all my stuff out of it. You know, we were able to get literally everything. We got the job box and everything, packed it in our car, and then just drove home. We signed the title over to the junkyard and left it there.
And then when you do that, so this might come in handy to young guns breaking out. When you sign the title over to the junkyard, do you still owe them tow fees or whatever, or is that how you break even on that? Like, did it end up costing you anything?
It costed $250 for them to, I guess, do whatever they did and to take the truck. But yeah.
Okay. So in the end, it wasn't a complete break even though you signed the title over them to keep. They still charge you $250 for, I guess, the tow bill or something.
Yeah, they charged me $250 for something, but they wouldn't let us get to the truck. They wouldn't let us get to any of my stuff or nothing unless we paid that money. So we just went on and did, because I had a bunch of stuff in there with me. You know, I had all my welding stuff. I had everything with me, all my clothes, the boots. So we just paid it in there and got all my stuff.
All right. So now you're that didn't work out. You're back at KWI for a couple weeks. Golden arming and welding on some other stuff. But currently, right now, you're sitting in a hotel on a job. Like you're pretty much maybe a week or less out of KWI. Talk to me about, I guess, this job. What was the weld test? How did you make the phone call? What was that like?
So Andrew set up one of my buddies to come down here, and we had planned on hitting the road together anyways, but he called him. They just needed one welder. So he came down here. He was down here for, I don't know, a few days, and then someone on the job got fired. So then he gave him my number, and they called me. They told me they needed a welder that day to be down there that day to test. I was like, all right, I'm coming. So I went down there. So the test was it was really close to Indianapolis, but it was right there on the border. So I drove down there, tested that morning, and then the test was really easy. It was SKED 80 carbon, SKED 80 stainless, and then a SKED 10 stainless. It was in 5G, but the SKED 10 it was all in 6G, but the SKED 10 was in 5G. It's a real easy test. And then, funny story, I almost failed because my regulator wasn't pushing gas, and I kept putting in my root, and it just kept sugaring. So I went up to the guy. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then he gave me his regulator, and it turned out it was just an equipment. So he called it fine. And then I took the test. I passed them. Didn't have to bend them. Just a visual test. And then had to do an orientation, which was just talking about, it was just a video. And then I left. I'm in Logansport now. It's about an hour away from where I tested.
Logansport. And so an hour away, maybe I can bring it up, I guess, but are you north, south from Indianapolis? What do you think?
It's north. It's about 2 hours from Chicago, hour and 30 from Indianapolis.
Well, you're pretty close to Chicago then. Well, not pretty close. You're above, I don't know. Yeah, you're a good hour and a half. You're almost to Fort Wayne up there, pretty north. Yeah. So it's got to be cold. What's the weather like up there right now? Because it just shifted down here in Kentucky. Like today was the day. It came in raining and goofy. Is it snowing up there?
It started snowing. It frosted this morning. We looked out there and there was snow on the ground, a little frost, and then it melted. And then about an hour ago, it started snowing.
All right, so it's not even Thanksgiving yet. It's already snowing up there in Indiana. What are you driving? Your truck's totaled. What are you in? How'd you get there?
So it's the day before I got the call. I was looking at a truck. It's just a little S10. It's beat to death. Like, I don't know why I even decided. Well, I needed a vehicle, so I bought it. But I should not have drove it up here. But it made it. It's doing good, but it's just a little S10 with a lot of miles on it, but it's working.
All right. Sounds good. It's all you need. So
Yep.
what's week one been like so far? What have you welded so far?
It's just so it's socket welds and it's 2-inch stainless. It's all stainless 2-inch sked 40, and then sometimes they'll move you over to 4-inch sked 10 and then 8-inch sked 10 stainless. And that's all it is.
So you getting a lot of hood time then?
Yeah, you got to do 60 inches in a day, that's what the minimum is that they want you to get, which isn't too bad. But then you can do more. You can just stay at it.
So do you fill out production reports? Like, how are they tracking how many inches per day you're doing?
So the fitter, there's two fitters there, and they keep track of how much you weld, what you weld. They just have papers that just say what you're making, and they fill out the work for you and put how many inches that you do. So I don't have to. I just weld it, and I just keep welding all day.
So what? How many hours a day are you working?
Well, Monday through Friday is 12 hours, and then you do a 10-hour on Saturday.
And you got Sundays off.
Sundays off.
Are you still making per diem all 7 days?
No, it's just the 6 days you work.
6-day per diem. All right. So penciling this job, how did it do? So you said 5/12s, right? So it's 60
70.
hours, and then you said
It's
and then
70
10
hours.
So you 70 hours a week. So
Yep.
40 hours at straight time and 30 hours at time and a half, and then 6 days of per diem. Have you seen your first paycheck yet?
I have not. Because I tested Tuesday. We get paid for testing. So I'll get this week, next week. So I won't get a full check until 2 weeks from now.
I got you. And so what's the hourly up there? What's the hourly the per diem they're paying you?
We're making 38 and 120.
38 and 120. Well,
Yeah, it's
that
all.
ain't bad. And then go ahead.
It's 38 and 120. Just doing rollout weld. So it's paying pretty good for really not doing too hard of welding.
And then how long will this job last?
The guy told me 6 months. It's supposed to last 6 months.
And will you guys work through the holidays?
They give us the holidays off. I think for like Thanksgiving, they're giving us. We got to work that Wednesday, and then we get off until that. Like we got to work that Monday.
Have you done the math on this yet to see what you should be making?
I think it's like $3,000 a week. I think.
You said per diem was 120, right?
Yeah, we figured it out, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, so I'm just punching around on my calculator right here. So 38, you said 38 and 120. So 38 on straight time is 1,520. And then your OT is $57 an hour at 30 hours. That's $1,710. That's all good stuff. We'll add that back. And then 6 days per diem at 120. We'll add up another $720. Yeah, so you'll be grossing right at $4,000 a week. And then it depends on when you sat in with HR, what did you claim? Single and zero?
Yeah, I did single because I don't know. They sent it to me that day, and I don't know. I was just nervous. I was just trying to fill it out as fast as I could because I was trying to go. Because I got that truck the next day, so I had to register it in my name. I had to get insurance. I had to do all that before I came down here. So I was doing all that paperwork in the mix of doing all that. I put single on it though.
Well, I'm 40 and I still put single and zero because I just hate to come to a tax season and end up having to owe Uncle Sam any money. So some guys will actually play the game, married in 9 or something like that, goofy. But that just means on April 15th you're gonna have to owe the government money. So I do single and zero, and they take more out of my check. But typically speaking, come tax time, I'm gonna get a refund back. So obviously you're not married, right? Not yet, anyway, and you got no kids. So single and zero is probably right where you should be, which means they'll be taking the most out of your taxes. Without looking it up, but I'd say they're going to take about $1,300 out of your check, maybe more. But yeah, so you're still right at that. You're definitely going to be grossing more than $2,500 a week. And if you're saying that job lasts how long?
6 months.
6 months. So heck fire, man. If you can gross or net more than $2,000 a week, well, you're grossing more than 4, and that's all chipping away at that 100K club. So if you can keep right on that rhythm, again, without knowing how much time they're going to lay, if they lay off for a week at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks at Christmas, I don't know what that looks like on their end, but if they're going to work you steady, this is going to be a pretty good first gig.
Yeah.
Especially with just a VT test. And you're in the shop. I mean, so you're just doing rollouts in the shop, you're saying?
Yes, you just have it on a jack stand and you just weld it. It's nothing hard. They said they wanted to do it on site, but then they decided not to. So they just sent it to a shop, and we're just all just standing in a corner welding.
Are you going to have to make any field welds later? I mean, towards the end of the 6 months when they start installing this, or what do you?
Not that they I mean, if they want me to, yeah, I will, but they haven't said nothing about it because they're sending it all down to Texas.
Well, that's wild then. That's wild. So fabbing it in Indiana, Logansport, even above Indianapolis, and they're going to ship it down to where you're headed at. Maybe
Yeah,
it's going to that job.
maybe.
All right. So day one. Go back to day one. Did you have the drug test?
We tested on the test day. So after we passed the test, we did orientation and drug tested that day.
All right. What kind of drug are they doing? Hair follicle, urine, mouth swab? What are you guys doing?
It was just urine. Had to pee in a cup.
Urine test. How long? You said you had 3 weld tests. Most of them though just skid. I don't know. I can't remember what you said. Skid 80. Nothing was a monster. But how long did they give you the test? Did they have a time limit for you?
The paper said 90 minutes. Like as soon as they hand out the coupons, the time starts and you get 90 minutes for 2-inch. I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention to the time, but I know that because I did my skid 10, and then part of the route looked a little gray, but he went on and passed it like it all looked good. And then I did my skid 80 stainless next, and I mean it was just the route was not going in. So it had to be a good, I don't know, probably 30 minutes just trying to figure out what was going on and then trying to get a new regulator. She gave me his. So I don't know if they were sticking to that time or not, but I know it got done quick.
So talk me through your checks internally. I mean, at KWI, I know we're teaching you on the bottom side. Stick in your purge hose, tape that all off good, tape off your gap, tape off the top. What do you normally do? Pop 2 holes in, or do you peel a little back? Do you put a clear lens on there? What's your normal routine for that?
I'll tack up the coupon, and then I'll tack it up to the stand, and then I'll just figure out where I can put the purge in. And then I tape the purge up, and then. Well, first, when I'm tacking it up, I do hard tacks. So I close off one end, I put the purge in, close off the other end, and then just tack it. And then I set it up, put the purge in, and then so one end's already completely covered up. So I just usually poke a hole in it, twirl the wire around so it's not a tiny hole. And then sometimes I'll tape up the other side, or sometimes I'll just leave it. It just depends on, I guess, what I do when I do it.
So you've opened up your bottle there. You see your flow meter floating somewhere to the tune of 30 to 40 or something like that. You're putting your cheek on your TIG rig for sure. You're feeling that gas pour out of the top of your coupon. I guess I'm just asking, at what point were you like, man, it's got to be my regulator? I'm not feeling my purge come out of my...
This was the weird, like I felt the purge. The purge was coming out. So I just went to weld. I don't know why. I don't know. It's one of the things that never happened while I was at KWI. It never happened any. So I was like, I have no idea what's going on. So I cut it out, and I go to weld the other side of it, because I don't know, I just did, and it sugared again. So I went to the guy, I was like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. It just keeps sugaring. And then he's the one that went over there and said, well, it's probably your regulator. So he gave me his, and it came out fine.
So you lucked out hard then. This guy was doing you a favor, I guess, coming out. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, not bad at all. That's kind of a cool story. Something you'll remember. First 2 tests. One, a tragic car wreck on Missouri Highway somewhere between here and Texas. Second test, a good old timer, or your QC telling you, hey, let's just change out this regulator and give you a second chance. That's good stuff. All right, so you plan on sticking with it the 6 months up there, right?
Before I came down here, I was trying to find a job, and I texted the stick guy again. And he told me they didn't have any work till January. So like, well, this sucks. And then they called me, and then I came down here. And then probably come January or sometime then, I might text him, see what he has going on, just to get more experience in doing different things. But if they don't have it, and I can't find anything, I'm just gonna stick it out here till the end.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, if you're popping off $4,000 a week, I don't know why you'd leave. I would soak that up as much as possible. Now, at the end of the 6 months, I mean, this is November, so you're looking at April. You probably luck out and just be able to come back home and hit some sort of coal-fired power plant outage up or down the Ohio River. Yeah, so I think that would be golden, really, as far as just ride this one to the ground, get your feet wet, get some good experience, and then luck into some 712 money at a power plant. That'd be good.
That's what I was going. I'm gonna text him. If he has a job like what I was going to, that's a long period of time, I'll probably go to it, because it would have been 712s making a lot more than what I am now.
But you got to get there.
Yeah, got to make it.
So what's been the biggest? I don't know. What's been the biggest obstacle on the job so far? So put the weld test to bed. Now you're actually in the welding game. What's been sort of the weirdest thing that caught you off guard on the job?
I guess just everything the job has in general, because I never done any of that. 8-inch sked tin, 6-inch sked tin, not 6-inch, 4-inch, and then socket welds. I don't know, or 2-inch sked 40. I've never done any of that. Which everything I've done is kind of similar, so I kind of pick it up. Like it wasn't hard to pick up, but that 8-inch sked tin's really easy to mess up.
All right, what's been the easiest thing so far on the job?
I don't know, probably just the socket welds. They're not very hard. You ain't got to put a lot of thought into them to get them done.
Are you having to fill out hot work permits, JSAs, that kind of stuff?
Nope. We get there at 6 in the morning and we just start welding until 6 o'clock and then we leave.
What's the facility look like? Are you on a plant or no, complete fab shop? Do you got a badge in? What's that look like?
It's just a building in the middle. No, they got two buildings. One you do carbon in, and the other one you do stainless in. We're in the stainless one.
Oh, nice.
But
they're keeping everything.
Yeah, separated. And you just park in the parking lot, walk up there, put the code in the door, and walk in.
Get started. So you said you're working 12s for 5 days a week. What time? Are you working day shift or night shift?
6 a.m. to 6 p.m., so day shift.
6 to 6. 6 to 6. All right. And then what's it look like as far as, you haven't been up there a whole week yet, I guess, but any plans on, because you're probably 4 hours from home, that's what I would guess, is that right?
Yeah.
So how many trips have you already planned to come back? Like, what's that looking like?
The only days I'm coming back is when we get off, like for Thanksgiving, and I'm guessing we're going to get off for Christmas, and then, yeah, that's just the only time I'm coming back.
So Sunday, just 1 day a week, that's not enough time for you to try to run back and run up.
I don't think it. Yeah.
You use that as your down day, rest up.
I mean,
do your laundry. What does that look like? I mean, you're fresh out. I'm sure your mama took care of you. I know your roommate's mama took care of him. So what does it look like there? You guys are in a hotel. You're not Airbnb-ing. You don't have a camper. What are you guys doing for laundry, food, that kind of stuff? What's that look like? First time on your own, I guess.
The hotel that we're in has a laundry room, so we just use it. We just got laundry detergent. We just throw it in and hope we're doing it right. I don't know.
And then, are you all eating the hotel breakfast for free or whatnot? And then what are you doing for lunch and dinner? How's that working?
We usually, so the hotel breakfast, they don't start till 6. So we got to be there at 6, so we can't eat the breakfast. So we usually just pick up. We went to Walmart. We got food for lunch, and then we got just snacks. We just pick up something from here in the morning, and then we wait till lunch. And then I guess after we get off work, we eat and then go to bed.
So what is Logansport a big town? What do you got? What do you got to eat there? What's that looking like?
It has, I don't know, it's like in between what Lexington would be and then like Moorhead. Like it has like a Home like Walmart, Home Depot. Like it has all of it, but it's not like massive, I guess. They got restaurants everywhere.
Just zooming in on the maps here. Yeah, it looks pretty big. Yeah, like you're saying, definitely bigger than Flemingsburg. So for dinner, what are you guys doing? I mean, your per diem is 120. You're splitting a hotel right now, which I think is a really wise move. What's the hotel costing you guys?
It's $600 for a week, but how we're doing it is like I'll pay for it this week, and then he'll pay for it this week or next week. So you're living free for a week is how we're doing it. Or you can do $300 every week from both of us. But
all right, so that's not bad at all because your per diem you're bringing in is $720. You got $300 in room, which leaves you $420. I'm guessing you guys are riding back and forth to work together.
No, not yet because I'm new and he's newer. We don't want to look weird, so we just drive separate. But we'll probably
I don't
start
think anybody's
together.
checking you out in the parking lot. I don't think anybody's paying attention to the parking lot.
You never.
Yeah, but I would even start. I'd start sharing a ride. Same thing, I guess. Whoever pays for the hotel, the other guy drives that week, and then just swap it out. And then food. I guess you haven't planned this out just yet. You haven't been there long enough. But man, you can start making money, I guess, on the per diem too. Per diem is designed for you to live there and eat. But hopefully, if you're smart and you're conservative, you'll be scraping some off the top of that, I guess. And man, I would like to think. I mean, I could feed a family of 5 with $400 a week. So surely you're not eating that up. Now, eating out is expensive. I'll tell you that. So if you guys are hitting La Fiesta, or I'm looking up some of the restaurants there, eating Boland's Donuts every day or Hardee's for lunch, then I guess, yeah, you could probably waste some money quick. But hopefully you're, like I said, you Walmart for some cheap breakfast in the morning. What kind of lunch break do you guys get out there?
So we go in at 6, we get a 15-minute at 9, and then we get a 30-minute lunch at 12, and then we get another 15 at 3.
Okay. And now, has that shook you up at all? Are you, I guess you come from high school where you go for 40 minutes and get you a 5-minute break every. How you been doing on that? Are those breaks enough? You able to stay on your feet and keep welding?
Yep. No, it's not too
bad. And that 30 minutes, 30 minutes lunch, are you guys leaving the facility and going and finding something fast food, or are you packing a lunch on the way in?
Right now this past week that I've went, we've been leaving, hitting up McDonald's, using the mobile app to be getting $7 meals, and then just going back. But I think we're going to start packing our lunch from here on.
Loaf of bread and a pound of bologna or something like that, and again start. All right, so we're kind of talking awful conservative here, and the reason for that would be that you've got bigger goals. So Jackson, what are you looking to do with this? I mean, a career in welding. You're young. You and your road partner there in Logansport. You're making $4,000 a week, $720 per diem. There's going to be a lot of things, I guess, that could distract you and start bleeding money. But what are your bigger goals in mind? Where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years that you're saving up for?
I'm not really sure. I'm sure I'm going to end up buying me a truck, something nice to drive. But just going to start, retirement, try to invest in some money, and then just keep working and just see where the money goes.
Well, I would advise you to go ahead and pick something. I don't know what that looks like. I'm guessing you got a girlfriend back home or something like that. So maybe it's a ring for her, and then eventually a home. But you got to have something. If you don't have a goal, then you won't know if you get there or not, I guess. So make sure you pick something out. A truck is good, I guess. I would, and you know this about me, I would highly recommend new to you, not brand new, because those things aren't worth it. That's what gap insurance is for. But yeah, you talk about retirement then. What kind of retirement are you interested in? What are you looking to do with that?
So I'm waiting for these first few checks to hit, and then once I come back into town, we're gonna go to the Edward Jones and start a Roth IRA and get that going.
Roth IRA. Now, could you explain the difference to the people listening? You said Roth IRA. What's the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional?
So the traditional, like I guess a 401k, so you just put in money, but then when it's time to retire and you get that money back, that they pull out the taxes then, so when you receive it. But when you do your Roth IRA, they take the taxes out as you're putting the money in. So when you go to pull it out, you just get all your money tax-free. So instead of paying taxes on whatever, just like $2 million or whatever you have, you just pay taxes on $100,000 that you put in instead of the $2 million.
Yeah, there you go. Traditional, you don't pay taxes on it, but you got to do it on the backside. So if your traditional IRA made $4 million, you pay tax on $4 million. But your Roth, if you're doing it as you pump it in, you put $300,000 in over the span of 20, 30 years of investing, and it grows to $4 million. That $4 million is all yours. So you check your Edward Jones, and every dollar you see, you know is coming straight to you. That's good. Where to next? So you said you're going to wait a few paychecks. Do you have any bills or notes that you need to pay off right now? Kentucky Welding Institute, like that tuition, I guess, is $24,000. I'm guessing you didn't have to pay housing if you're a local guy. How did you pay for your KWI?
I had quite a bit of scholarships that paid off for it, which was able to pay for schooling, so I didn't have to pay nothing in the schooling.
So you did your homework senior year. You're telling me you filled out scholarships and KWI was free?
Yes.
So name off some of these scholarships. I'm sure this will pique the ears of a lot of guys listening because they're all wanting to get there the same way you did, I guess, for free. What scholarships did you earn? I got
the FAFSA, but how some of the scholarships work, you don't get it until like in the middle or the end. So I had to pay, I think it was like $12,000 when I first got there. And then, when the scholarships started coming in, they would get sent to me and then I would pay it off. But I got the micro, I got the WIOA, I got FAFSA, I got a bunch of local scholarships. The AWS ones, I got a few AWS scholarships, and then I think that was it. Yeah, so all of these you'd recommend. Anybody come behind you, you would tell them, hey, man, fill out your AWS scholarships. And those open like December 1st, and that's good for a couple thousand. The micro is pretty intense, right? Yeah. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What does the micro pertain? So you got to do, I think they ask you a few questions, and you got to do a video. I think I worked on the video, I think it was a few weeks, 2 weeks maybe. I don't remember how long I worked on it, but I know it was a while, and I spent quite a bit of time editing it. And I know I got help going through the questions, making sure I didn't sound stupid when they read it and it sounded correct and the video looked good, and making sure you were following all the rules. And
So how much did you end up getting off Mike Rowe then?
I got I got awarded 12,000, but where I already had some scholarships, they took some back, and then I only got 8. Well, not only 8, but they sent me 8 grand.
Yeah, 8,000. That's big. And how much was WIOA?
WIOA was 8. Yeah, 8.
8,000. And then in Kentucky, you probably have your Keys money. You probably got a work ready scholarship, that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I got Keys. I think I got like 1,500 in Keys because GPA wasn't very good freshman, sophomore, and junior year, but I was still able to get 1,500 from that.
Well, that ain't bad. $1,500. All right. So what did you do for the 12,000? You said you had to initially pay 12,000 up front. How did you get that money? Your mom just handed it to you, or how does that work?
No, so KWI has a loan. You could pull a loan through Sallie Mae, and then that's what I did. I was just able to get 12,000 out of them, and then use that to pay the rest.
Have you already paid Sallie Mae back off?
Yes, I have.
So that quick. I remember that conversation early with you, maybe before you came to KWI. You reached out and you said, hey, listen, the Sallie Mae thing sounds dangerous because the piece of paper they just sent me, if I borrow this 12, I'm going to have to pay back 24,000. And typically speaking, if you're getting money for a truck or a house, or 8% on 15 years is double your money. You take out a $100,000 loan, you're gonna pay back $200,000. That's how interest works for loans. But did you end up paying back 24 grand then to Sallie Mae, or how much did you end up paying back?
No, I pulled it out, and then my interest was 13%. So I was like, that's crazy. So I got to pay this off as soon as possible. I think I paid an extra 1,000. I think it went up to 13 when I got it paid off.
All right. So that's lesson learned and good for you as far as like future in life, right? I mean, if you don't like the interest, then you need to focus on that debt and knock it in the head, which is exactly what you did. As scholarship checks came in, you didn't pee it away on goofy toys, maybe, and ignorant stuff. You went ahead and put it back on that note that you knew would cost you significantly if you left it hanging.
Yeah, because it went up $1,000 in a few months. I wouldn't want to see what it does when you just leave it.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. So you're being financially responsible right off the bat. We're talking tonight about ways to be conservative. You're already splitting a hotel room. You're going to start meal prepping, I guess, and saving on that per diem. That's good. Keep stowing that away. How much your Roth IRA? Do you know what the max is? You said in a couple weeks you're going to try to cash up and then go down and see your local Edward Jones. What's going to be your 2025 contribution this year?
Max $7 grand.
Yeah. And so you're going to give that to them all in one lick? Will you be able to, I guess if you're making roughly, I don't know, what do we say, 2,700 a week, maybe by the time you get ready for Christmas, you got to come down for Christmas break, schedule something with Edward Jones and be able to put that 7,000 in, lock it in?
Yes, should be able to by Christmas and still have money left over.
And then from there on out, what will you invest in lump sums, or do you plan on doing a monthly pull to ride out the highs and lows of the market? Like, what's your?
I'm not really too sure yet. I'll probably just do monthly. Just pay the I think it's like $585 maybe a monthly, and then just have it pull out automatically, and then just not have to worry about it.
Hey, that's a smart move, and that's what I would recommend. Do the monthly. If you wait on the annual every time, like a lot of times, some of these bigger companies, maybe Edward Jones, they want to make sure you're for real, so they're going to want that first year up front. Like you're going to probably bring in your $7 grand and show them that, yeah, this is what I'm about. But then I would set up those monthly contributions like you talked, $583 something or other, 33 every month. And then so if April's high but May is low, you're going to take the highs and lows. But as you zoom out of the stock market, it's all going up, so you'll be good. But yeah, that lump sum thing kind of makes you nervous. It's possible you go in on one day and the market's really high, and that's the day you bought, and then tomorrow it takes a turn. But I don't know. Yeah, good stuff. And then again, so talking KWI, what we talked about faith and family, finance and fitness. KWI just opened a gym, right? Did you take advantage of the gym before you left?
I was one of the first kids that got to go in there. We hit it hard the first week, and after that, I don't know what happened. Didn't go in there.
Was it a nice facility though? A good add to the KWI experience.
Yeah, there's not a gym like that within probably 20 minutes of KWI. The kids that are hard in the gym, I'm sure they would all love it, because if you want to go to the gym, you gotta drive 20-30 minutes just to get to one. But now there's one right there, and you get to use it for free, and it works out good.
Now, talking about your plans here, so you're possibly here for 6 months. You're thinking about hitting some sort of outage work whenever that pops in. How long? You're definitely, you said coming home because they're going to lay off anyway for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You got a girlfriend back in your hometown?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think that's how's that going to turn out? You're thinking long term with this one, or are you thinking you're still shopping? What's the
No, it's in long term for this one.
long term for this one? So where's she at in her education, her career?
She's still a senior in high school. I just graduated high
What's
school.
she going to end up doing?
About 2
What's
weeks.
she going to focus on?
She wants to go to EKU. She's looking at being a pilot, which I hope she does, because they make good money, and then I'll be a stay-at-home dad or something. I don't know, but probably
Or
not.
she could fly you to Texas, maybe safely, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I can make it there easier, quicker.
There you go. All right, so she might be a pilot, you're saying, and then you're going to be a traveling welder. How long? Where do you see welding? So is she going to? I guess she has to go to EKU. I don't know how long the pilot deal is there. I don't know what that is. That a four-year degree? How long is she planning on going to EKU?
I think it's 3. It's 3 or 4. It depends on how much you get done before you go. Because when they went to orientation, they said if you go on and have your private pilot license, you would finish it in 3. But if you didn't, you would have to get it in 4.
Okay. And so there's a couple small airports around Flemingsburg. One in Maysville, one in Moorhead. Is she already starting to work on that then, getting some fly time?
She co-ops at the one in Moorhead. They're letting her fly planes there, getting in touch with the fuel and fixing the planes and all that. So she's already getting to get a feel for what it's going to be like.
All right. So and then if she's at school for 3 years, she's got her senior year, which is 1. And then 3 years at school, if she shaves any time off with this co-op, what will you be doing with those 4 years?
I'll be on the road making money.
On the road making money. So you're both going to work on you for right now, and saving for that future. Sacrifice now, glory later, so to speak. Yeah. And have you guys talked about where you're going to settle down?
She'll probably get somewhere in Richmond, because that's where the school is. But in the end, like when we're 40 something, no, not yet. Not really too sure.
You haven't talked that out. Well, I would advise you to have all those big talks now. Some of my pet peeves, divorce in America, unfortunately, is way above 50%. So, and I think a lot of times people rush into that marriage thing. They base it off being attracted to somebody, that kind of thing. But you ought to have those big talks, right? I mean, do you guys, do you worship the same way? Do you both believe in God? Do you vote the same way? Are you both conservatives or liberals? Because a lot of those things, you kind of need to be equally yoked in those kind of big decisions. Otherwise, it'll make for a mess later down the road. If Jackson wants to spank the boys and his girlfriend says, no, we're just going to tell him don't do it again and stick him in a corner, how are you going to raise your kids? Like, do you guys have those kind of big talks and, on the phone at night, talking about how...
Yeah, we've had some. We're both for, kid acts bad, go spank him. We're all pretty similar in everything, so
like-minded on the things that matter, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, if she likes strawberry ice cream and you like chocolate, that's okay. But you're saying on the big things, that matter, you guys.
Yeah.
They say money is the number one reason for divorce. So hopefully you guys both also have similar goals in that, like that you're not a super conservative and she's wanting to spend all the money, and that'll cause issues and stuff. So hopefully you guys both pick, again, like I said, you pick that goal. It's a 2-story house and a white picket fence, a dog, and 3 kids. You guys have that goal and you're both working on that while you're young. I would think you have a whole lot less problems than if you, again, don't have goals, and so you're coming at each other with different ideas as they pop into your head.
Yeah. I said because she, female, they like to spend money, but she has a little bit of common sense where, like, hey, this is too much money, and there's no reason in paying that much money for something. So she's more, I guess, level-headed when it comes to when things are too much money to buy.
Now, you haven't been very long on the road yet. You were on third shift, though. What kind of stresses were there on your relationship, I guess? So she's a senior in high school. She's going every day. I don't know if she's going to ball games at night and going to the homecoming dance or something like that. But you're locked in on third shift KWI, so you're sleeping when she's awake. And now you're off 4 hours from the house. What kind of strains have there been on your relationship?
So before I went to KWI, like before we got together, she because we met in high school. She knew I was going to be a welder and what came with doing welding. You know, you're going to be gone for a while. You're going to be traveling. You're going to have different hours. And I guess, realized that was going to happen. So then when I got to KWI, that's when the hours got different. But then we were able to figure it out because she was in bed when I went to school. And then when she was in school, I went to bed. And then we were both up at that one period before I went to school and then before she went to bed, which I guess worked out.
That's good then, right? I mean, you guys are already compromising on life's obstacles and making it work for you. Yeah, yeah. All right, Jackson. Anything else on the top of your head that you'd like to talk about or share? We've been at it for a little over an hour.
When I first got here, we ate out. We ate out at Domino's, and it was stupid. It cost us so much money, and it wasn't even that good. So we ain't doing this no more. So living off pizza rolls works good. Go get you some pizza rolls and just eat those. It works great.
Jackson, that's processed junk, man. That's not even real food. No, I love it though. If you had the choice, yeah, go ahead and live cheap, brother. So you're saying just get you some freezer pizza rolls and live off that, right?
They seem to be working for us.
You got a microwave in the hotel, or you have to go down to the lobby or something?
Yeah, they got a microwave in here.
In your room?
Yeah, in the room.
And you, who negotiated the long stay? Because typically that's not something. I mean, you guys are both young. How did you know to ask the hotel, hey, we need the weekly rate. We don't want your nightly $150 a night bull crap. How did you?
Well, he was here before me, and then I'm not too sure what he did, but then when I got down here, we know we were going to room and how we were going to pay for it. And then he was at a job. His, I guess, whatever he paid for ran out. And then when I got here, I just told him I wanted to be here I want to go ahead and pay for a week. And they told me the week, and then I just went ahead and paid it. And we'll just keep that going.
That's good. That's good. And are you guys thinking about, you like the hotel life? You're thinking about Airbnb, giving that a try? Or are you ever going to considering a camper? What are you thinking?
We'll probably just stick for a hotel for now. I don't know, it might change. A camper would be nice, but I know that comes with a lot more responsibilities. So just starting out, I think a hotel would be fine.
Yeah, I think the big disadvantage right now is you guys, $300 a week, and that's going to be out the door. You're not building any equity in anything. But at the same time, as young as you are, first job out, man, I wouldn't advise pulling a camper and have to figure all that stuff out, and maybe your water line busts, or you can't get the sewer figured out, or I don't know. All kinds of things can go wrong with those campers. But with a hotel, any complaints you have, they just move your rooms or something like that, and you're right back. It's one less thing for you to worry about. You can focus on, I need to be a welder right now. I need to figure out my career, not all that extra. So year 2, 3, or something like that, maybe you get a camper. But yeah, I think it's a smart move, really.
Yeah, just learning how the road, like being away from home, learning how the jobs work, just learning how everything works without having extra stuff to worry about will probably be helpful in the end. And then you just get a camper whenever you want.
All right, so this first job, you talked about maybe being a little nervous going in, filling all the paperwork fast, taking those weld tests. Do you feel like the next job will be easier for you, hiring you in?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad hiring in. The only time I really got nervous is when I kept messing up my route. Because I knew I could do the test easy. I mean, I've done plenty of that at KWI before. And then I had tested before. So I wasn't too nervous taking the test. And then I've already drove longer than 4 hours, so I wasn't worried about the drive. But it wasn't really. The first day was a little weird because I didn't know what to do, what was going on. But then I figured it out pretty fast and just rolled on.
All right, so wrapping up here, give me some advice to anybody considering a career in welding or coming to KWI. What would you highly recommend? I'm sure at KWI you saw things break into thirds. It's a great school, don't get me wrong, and all those guys would be better welders leaving than coming. But probably a third of those guys you noticed were like you maybe. You took charge of all the 8 hours a day. You welded as much as you could. You got in simulators. You tested yourself. Then there's a middle third that are pretty good, but sometimes they don't work as hard as they should. Sometimes they do, and then there might be a bottom third who tend to maybe pace themselves or take it too easy. They don't really suck every second of the day out. What advice would you give to doing really good through KWI, getting the most out of it?
I don't know, but I think with my experience, what helped me the most was I could have learned the basics. If you can learn the basics before you can go to KWI, I think that helps a lot. But I know some people, you just won't be able to learn, or you don't have the supplies to learn the basics. But if you go to KWI, just put in the hours. If you're able to stay over, stay over. I know I I think it was like 2 or 3 all day shifts, like from when I came in to when second shift left. I did that 2 or 3 times, and you can get help from every instructor because everybody welds different. Everybody has a different technique of doing stuff, so you can just learn from everybody and just be able to figure it out and pull the extra hours.
All right, so that wraps us up then. You're saying take advantage of as much time as you can, test yourself, pull some 16s and see if you got it in you, and then utilize all those instructors because you can adopt a lot of their techniques and figure out your own way of doing it. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to sign off tonight then. Jackson, appreciate you coming from Logansport, Indiana tonight, talking with us a little bit about that first job. We're burning up your Sunday. This is your one day off. I guess you're going to have to hit the hay here pretty soon because you got to be up at 5 a.m. To get out there and pull another 12 tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been Bobby with KWI Podcast and Jackson Sattler. Look at us for the next